Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of My 15 Minutes. This is the show that I put on every day, and I talk about whatever I feel like talking about for 15 minutes and post it on YouTube. This is episode 46. Today is this February the 15th, right? The day after Valentine, right? February 15th, 2020. This is episode, as I said, 46. I've been doing this every day since January 1st of this year. And I will continue to do it for 366 days, at which point I don't know what will happen. For a total of 366. I want to do it every day for a year. That was the idea. Anyway, last night I was talking about the only rock festival that I ever attended in my life. Unfortunately, when Woodstock happened in 1969, I was in the Army. I was unavailable. I was out in Fort Riley, Kansas, and there is no way, in fact, I didn't even know about Woodstock until we heard about it on the news that weekend. The traffic jams, and I mean, even in Kansas, we had, the news on TV that told about it. It's funny. But so, and I didn't even really understand what it was until after I got out of the Army in 1970. But even at that, so 1971, after the story yesterday, I had taken us. I think we were in either Mississippi. I think it was Mississippi. Anyway, we had caught a ride with this couple in an old, really not all that old. In today's standards, it's no time at all. But back then, it was maybe a 6-year-old Ford Mustang that was really beat. It was kind of a brown color. It was actually a convertible. It had a black top, brown with a black top and black interior. It was filthy. Oh my God, it looked just terrible. But the people inside were real nice, and they gave this friend of mine, John, and I a ride. If you need to catch up, go back to episode 44. 45, excuse me, 40. He says part one on it. But anyway, so we had caught a ride. We had some adventures. Now we were on a ride. We were on our way to this rock festival. Somehow or another, we had managed to scrounge up tickets. I don't even know how we paid for them or anything else, but we actually had legitimate tickets. We actually paid for. We didn't, go down there on a wing and a prayer hoping to get in. But anyway, as we got closer into Mississippi and then finally getting into Louisiana, we started seeing all kinds of traffic, all kinds of hippies, not just with their thumbs out like we did, but driving, all VW vans with painted, all kinds of hippie stuff. Just exactly the kind of scene you would have thought. Only there wasn't 400,000 headed there, or 500,000, or whatever they had at Woodstock, but it was still a pretty big crowd. And I don't know if I mentioned it last night or not, but when I've been thinking about it, and periodically over the years, I would do a little search on the internet, and you'd find a blurb here or there. But it turns out that somebody wrote and produced a documentary film about the celebration of life in Louisiana, and it's out there. It was just a couple of years ago, 2018, I think it said. I haven't seen it. I'm certainly looking forward to digging it up and finding out if it's still available to be seen. But anyway, so we were headed down there, and as we got closer, the things were getting a little tighter. We're getting really close to the place where it's supposed to be, and the people who are heading there, traffic was slowing down, really almost to a crawl. And we picked up. There was 4 of us to start with, but as the traffic was really tightening up, and more people were thumbing it, some people were just jumping on cars and riding when just sit on we're at back roads. Don't get me wrong. This is no turnpike. This is no interstate. These are 2-lane roads in the middle of Louisiana, heading for this place that's even more remote than where we were in the first place. But anyway, so we picked up somebody who said they were from the area and that we should you know, go this way. Don't stay with these other people. Take this road. He turned us off. I didn't say anything. I wasn't driving. I'm just riding. I didn't argue with anybody. I just sat there, and this guy said, "Yeah, you gotta go this way." So we did. Well, we rode around for a while until we were thoroughly lost. As far as the guy kept saying, "Oh, I know where we are. I know where we are," but it never seemed to. He never seemed to be able to figure it out exactly. So anyway, we were we were way out in the middle of nowhere at this point, and we came across a crossroad, and in that crossroad, on one side of it was an old combination grocery store, bar, bait shop, virtually anything that, it wasn't very big, but it had a lot of purposes, gas pumps out front. I mean, and it was old and wooden, and it just looked, but it had a lot of neon, beer signs and stuff, and there was people, there were cars all over the place, and so we decided to stop and get gas to one thing. So everybody's chipping in, everybody's chipping in $1, and somebody's going to put 5 in the tank or something, and so we decided to go inside and see if we could get help, figure out where we are and how to get where we're going. So John, the guy I was hitchhiking with, he took the lead on this. He was, at that point, I had no, but anyway, he took the lead, and he went on in the door. And now I understand we all had hair, scruffy. I mean, we looked the part. If everybody ever looked at, we did. And we walked into the place, and I'm telling you, it was nothing but locals. Absolutely packed with locals. And every single one of them turned around and looked at us as we walked in the door. And conversation just stopped, just like a movie. Just like a movie. Conversation stopped. Everybody turned around and looked at us, and just the 4 of us, I guess, because somebody, I think one of the other people, not that me, but somebody was still out there filling it. They were putting $5 in the gas tank, which at that time probably would have been fill up. Maybe it didn't even take $5. I don't know, because 1971 gas was maybe, 35 cents a gallon or something like that. Not a lot of money. But anyway, by today's standards. But anyway, so they all turned around and looked. And then, after this dead silence for about 5 or 6, 7 seconds, somebody in the crowd yells out, "Hey, y'all heading to that rock festival?" And we all just stood there dumbfounded for a minute, and John finally raised his hand and said, "Yeah, we're heading there. We need some help." And the next thing you know, everybody's up from their chairs, off from the bar, coming over, and we heard all about it. And from that point on, it was like old home week. I just saw the strangest. We got a couple beers bought for us. We got directions written down, not to go this way, but to go, and then sent us. These guys gave us such good directions that we made it to the site in maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours tops, that I know other people were going to be there till the next day because they didn't do what we did. But we got there. We couldn't park on the grounds because it was already. So they left we never saw the people again with the Mustang. But we ended up parked at some place, and then we just walked on into the site. And it was huge. It was really a big site. There wasn't, when we got there, that was like, God, I think it was Thursday before the show. It was supposed to start the week in before we got there. But something happened. I don't even know why we didn't, it was supposed to be 8 days. At least that's what I heard later. But it wasn't. For us, it wasn't 8 days at all. We got there on Thursday, and then the music was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we left. Monday, I guess. I'm not sure. It's a blur because of there was a lot going on. But it was a huge, huge piece of ground. And what was unique about it, and probably the reason that they thought they could get away with the crowd control that they did, they didn't really need any crowd control, because this site is on the Atchafalaya River in Louisiana, and it is one of the most treacherous, swiftest rivers running. I don't know why that specifically is, but it is. Now, this is in June of 71. It's really hot in Louisiana. And this river, it goes, and what had happened is the river went all the way around this and made a little peninsula out of this particular piece of ground, like this ground. So the river was like, and then there was a fence that went here, and that's where you got in. And so the whole thing was just, it was protected by the river. So John and I walked in, and we were looking for his brother Michael and whoever that fourth guy was. I can't remember the name of. Gary, no, I don't remember. Pete, I just can't remember his name. I can see him. I can see that he was a tall guy, curly hair. You know, we're all I was 21, and Michael and John could have been 19 and 21 or 20, somewhere around there, and this guy was in the same range. We were all just kids. And anyway, so though John and I were wandering the place looking for the people that we knew would be there, just, Michael and his friend. We never did find them. The whole weekend we were there, we never saw them. We never found them. We don't know what happened to them. But anyway, so we were wandering around and then also trying to find a place to camp, to set up and spend the weekend. We had drop cloths and sleeping bags and pup tents, and we didn't have the things like we don't have tents like they had today. We don't have any of that wire frame, frame tents you can pop up in a half a second. But anyway, we were wandering around the perimeter because figuring the outside is where there was some shade along the river, shade trees along the river, but the major center portion of this place was looks like it had just been probably brush hogged completely, cut down everything, and the stage was being set up at the far end, and so the stage was set up near the cutoff. Like I said, the river's here, right, and the fence was here, and the stage was about here. So we're wandering around the outside here, trying to find a place that looked comfortable and we could, stay and park ourselves and stay for the rest of the weekend. And as we were wandering along the edge, we're also looking at the river and watching. And then all of a sudden we see a drop off, and it drops down to what eventually eventually was called the Mud Beach. It was the only beach like it along the river, and it was all just clay, brown clay. And when it was wet, it became slick. Oh man, you could just, So, but we found a couple of comfortable spots on the Mud Beach, and the reason that we chose it probably was because you didn't have any grass to cut. It was nice flat ground, right? You came off the bank. There was a spot where we could camp, and then it went down further into the river, and it was very nice. And it was also morning sun, but evening shade. As far as that, because I think we got there in the evening, set up, or it was late day anyway. But anyway, it looked like a comfortable place, so that's where we set up, and we stayed the whole time there. And eventually, it became the place to be, mainly because 3 guys or 4 guys from another group that were also camping on the beach had gone up and had started chiseling away at the cliff on the edge of the bank. So the beach came along, right? It was a curve against the river. And then, but as you came out to the one end, it jumped about, 15 feet to the bank, to the top of the bank, about 15 feet, 18 feet high. And these guys had chopped off one end of that cut and made a mudslide that took you straight down into the water, into the river. And you could come back up, climb back up the bank, go back up again to do it again. And I mean, that went on all the time. Well, because it was the Mud Beach, and because everybody else was doing it, we eventually just stripped off our clothes and we were naked for the rest of the weekend. We never got dressed again. It was too, it was hot. You're not, when you get cooled off, you just go in the water. You dry off when you come back out. And we stood around naked. We got high naked. We did acid naked. We did all of that. And it wasn't just guys. The Mud Beach had guys, girls, almost as many girls as there were guys. And pretty soon they were all naked too. And all over actually, I shouldn't even talk about it. All over the festival, there was very little, not very little, but there was a lot of people that didn't wear clothes. Now, when we went to listen to music in the afternoon or in the evening and we left the beach, we did put on some shorts and a t-shirt or something and you got to have something on your feet because the ground up there was just, so, I mean, we personally didn't go naked into the music, but when we came back to the beach, we stripped off our clothes again. If you didn't, your clothes would just be black mud. They would just be mud. They were, you got mud. The only way to get clean, you get muddy or do whatever you do. You go down to the river, you get in it, you wash yourself off, you get back up and walk carefully across the mud until you can dry your feet and get shoes and socks on, or at least shoes. But it was a blast. We had a great time. We listened to some great music. Not all of the acts that were supposed to be there ended up being there because of different things, but It's a Beautiful Day played, Mountain played. There was a lot of really good music. And of course, it was the only rock concert I ever had to compare anything to, a rock festival that I ever had to compare anything to, so I can't say that anything was better or worse. But for us, it was a great time. We didn't have much money. We didn't even have much food with us, and we ran out pretty quick. And now, the Sunday, this is the story that makes this whole thing. Oh my God. I did it again. I'm over my 15 minutes. So I've got to stop, and we'll finish this part 3 tomorrow, because the next story is a killer. This is where you get to see what Louisiana really is. And so we'll finish this tomorrow night. Again, my name is John. This is my 15 minutes on the Old Folks Boogie 2 channel. If you care to subscribe, please do. If not, hope you enjoyed listening to this story. They'll finish it tomorrow. Good night. Take care of your loved ones. Take care of yourself, and be kind.